This is Capturing Light, episode 162, with Jonathan Nicholas.
Welcome to Capturing Light, a director of photographers podcast, spotlighting cinematography tips, tools, and techniques, inspiring and educating filmmakers like you so you can illuminate your vision. And now, your host, Les Gaddis.
Welcome to the Capturing Light podcast. I'm your host, Les Gaddis, and we have a great podcast for you today. We are talking to Jonathan Nicholas, who is a cinematographer of America's Sweethearts, Dallas Cowboys Cheerleaders, which comes out tomorrow. So very timely to release this podcast, and we had a good conversation. We talked about how he navigated the industry. We talked about some of the pre-production and creating the look of the show. We get into some of the technical specs of it. We talk about covering something like in a documentary cinema verite style. So it was cool. Jonathan was very open to share, just a great conversation, and I think you'll enjoy it. So here is that conversation with Jonathan Nicholas. All right, so I want to thank Jonathan Nicholas for coming on the Capturing Light podcast. How are you doing today?
Good, man. Thank you for having me.
Where are you from originally?
So I grew up in Texas. So I grew up in Lubbock, Texas, and then I went to TCU in Dallas-Fort Worth, and then immediately got to LA as fast as I could. Started my career there, was there for 11 years, and then in 2017 moved to Austin, which was kind of always the goal. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
11 years in LA.
Yeah, and so what was the path like? Did you have like a traditional kind of path, like coming up through like PA to assist and cam op, or like did you just jump right in and just start shooting your own stuff?
A little bit of both, honestly. I graduated TCU just like undergrad with film production as the emphasis and minor in studio art. So just always, I knew from like junior, maybe even sophomore in high school, I wanted to be in film production, thinking I wanted to be a director because that's all I knew about filmmaking was, when you first learn, you think, oh, it's just a director and that's it. But then when I got to TCU and really delved into production side, realized I was way more, I gravitated towards the visual side, right? So I started to learn what a cinematographer was. I loved still photography. And me and my cinematography professor really hit it off and just kind of migrated that way. And then, as soon as I could, I got to LA. My brother, who's actually 9 years older than me, was also in production. He was based more in the reality world. So I kind of had a foot in the door, at least in LA, to like get some PA work. And then, in college during my summers, I would always fly out to see him and like try and get on any kind of set that he was on, just make connections. I think between my senior year of college, I went to a USC cinematography film school that was like 2 or 3 weeks long. Got to know some LA people there. Got to meet Larry Parker from Mole Richardson at like the ASC house. And then when I officially moved to LA, packed everything up. I didn't really have anything lined up, but I went to an ASC open house right when I got there. And again, I saw Larry Parker there. And I remember a year before that, he said, hey, if you ever move to LA and you want to come learn or come help me teach or whatever, just like look me up and I'll help you out. And I saw him at the ASC open house and I was about to walk out and I go, you know what? I should just go, introduce myself again, tell him who I am. So I did and told him I just moved here. And he said, hey, when you move here, look me up. So I'm like, I'm here looking you up. He goes, awesome. What are you doing Wednesday? I go, nothing. He goes, great. Come by the soundstage. We'll get you going. I go, oh, okay. So from, day one, basically, people like that Larry Parker, I was like just hanging out at the Mole Richardson soundstage, their educational soundstage, and just one of those guys holding up flags and helping him teach other students who would come in like every day. And then you just kind of sit around and talk to other people, and then met some AFI guys one time. I think after a couple of weeks of hanging out, this AFI alum walked in, said hi to everybody, and said, "Hey, I have a buddy who's doing a thesis film, and they need a second AC. Does anyone help out?" And I just raised my hand, and then 2 days after that, I was on an AFI, thesis set, second
Mm-hmm.
AC, not knowing what I'm doing, but learning the ropes, learning how to slate. Um, and so just those kinds of things I kept on doing, just never saying no to anything. Um, and became like second ACs on reality stuff while also, I had a Canon 5D at the time, which was like the hot new thing. And that got me other work where you just meet other filmmakers in the community who want to shoot stuff. And I got a camera to shoot it. They got an idea to shoot, and we found some actors. And so always having like some kind of steady job, whether it be in production or not, and then also like using your weekends and off time to shoot your own stuff, whether it be narrative or documentary.
Right. No, that's awesome. And then like along that that time of out of school from TCU and then moving to LA and
Mm-hmm.
like some of the mentorship along the way and getting you plugged in, was there a particular moment or project where you felt like, okay, like this is kind of the moment that jump started like the career, or like people started to kind of notice, like was there like a project or a moment that really sparked an opportunity for you, or was it like a culmination of everything?
Man, there's so many, yeah, different moments. I mean, in my head, when I was doing a lot of AC work for like cooking, like reality shows, competition shows, I saw there was a path that you could just keep on doing that forever. And that's not what I wanted to do. I was always DPing stuff on the side. And a buddy hooked me up with a new company called Carga 7, who really took me around the world for I felt like the better part of a decade. Um, and my buddy Clint Lelos, who's like the head DP there, later became like the lead visual creative guy. Um, I AC'd for them on like History Channel, Travel Channel, Weather Channel shows. Quickly proved myself, and he saw that I had an eye and could operate, could light. So I quickly jumped up to DP status on those shows, and then from there we were doing docs all around the world. Like I said, for History Channel, Travel Channel, um, and it was a fantastic path to get thrown into the fire with small crews, under a lot of pressure to make something cool and fun and cinematic.
Right. So then, that all kind of leads up to what we're talking about today,
Mm-hmm.
which is a show that's coming out on Netflix, I think tomorrow, actually, the 18th.
Yeah,
America's Sweethearts, Dallas Cowboys Cheerleaders. So,
yeah,
could you talk a little bit about like how you got brought onto the project and like kind of the early pre-production stages of that?
yeah. So this is our season 2, and this will be my fourth show with Greg Whiteley. Greg is mostly known for Last Chance U and Cheer series, and now this show, and he's got a handful of other shows, but he is, in my mind, the best documentary filmmaker in the world. I am so privileged to be a part of his world now. But we got introduced back in COVID time when they were doing Cheer season 2. It got shut down, and then Netflix gave them kind of like a season 2B. So we kind of like not really reshot a season 2, but like just picked it up where it left off. And one of the DPs wasn't able to come back. So some people at Boardwalk, some good friends, introduced me to Greg because I was Texas based. COVID times needed to have like Texas crew to go shoot some interviews remotely. So I kind of met Greg via Zoom while shooting a lot of interviews for Cheer season two. And then when Netflix gave them the green light to do physical production in Texas again, they needed two DPs. One of them wasn't able to come back, and I interviewed with Greg and convinced him that I could shoot Verite, and the rest is kind of history. We've now done Cheer season two as a co-DP on that. We then went to Wrestlers on Netflix, and then we did season one, over a year ago now, and now season two, we shot for basically a whole year. I mean, we wrapped season two mid-May, maybe. I mean, maybe we transitioned end of April, but we kind of haven't stopped working. So it's a whole, like when we say we follow these girls for a year, we really do follow them for an entire season and an entire calendar year. So yeah, here we are.
Wow. So as a DP of a show I mean, like all of these shows, but America's Sweethearts, like the rest, like um, how do you keep a certain like look of the show and the aesthetic of the show when I'm sure you're constantly moving and pivoting and, like following the story.
Yeah, I mean, so our main setup, which is very distinct and a lot of people don't do, but we shoot on primes, right? And basically, we kind of pick the lenses for the particular look of the show. So for this show, we're using a set that I personally own, which is Ancient Optics Minolta Rokhors. So these are full frame primes, vintage rehoused, and I just wanted to give this. I'm always kind of attracted to that vintage lens look. While we were shooting Wrestlers in Kentucky for an entire summer, Clint Lelos, who is the owner of Ancient Optics, so he's like my good buddy. We worked together. We shot all over the world, and so I kind of get the inside track on what's coming down the pipe. So while we were shooting Wrestlers, he had his prototype Minoltas shipped to us. And then on like a Saturday afternoon or a Sunday afternoon that we had off, me and him and our two first ACs went and took my wife out into like Louisville, and shot basically like a kind of a promo test video for the Minoltas. And right then and there, I fell in love. Me and my wife invest in Cinema Glass for our company, and me and her quickly decided, yeah, this is worth it. And the next summer after we invested and got that set, America's Sweethearts came to be, and they were the perfect set for the show. And I've kind of been lucky to invest in glass that I can then put on a show. But I only want to invest in stuff that I feel that I want to work with and that I feel confident and think is beautiful, and then kind of share that with the rest of the world. Because I truly believe in this glass. It is gorgeous, and there's not a whole lot of them, but we tap into old fast glass, and Able Cine helps us find, because sometimes we'll have 4 or 5 units up, and sometimes we need a lot of glass. And so sometimes we kind of just scour the country to find all those sets to come together. But recently for season two, my AC Cassie Coker invested in our Burano like 8-camera set, and I always have my set of Minoltas. So anytime we get a call that we need to go follow the girls doing something, me and her can quickly gather our package and head to Dallas.
Right. Yeah, no, that's awesome. So, from a shooting style standpoint, like
Yeah.
you just prefer like primes because of the fact that it allows you and makes you focus on camera placement and you're not trying to find a shot within the scene, or what was the
Yeah, I
choice
mean,
behind that?
you have to be. It makes you really present in a scene, and it makes you think about what you're about to go capture. And obviously, they look the best. It was always my goal to shoot a show like this, and Greg really embraces that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know, within a certain show, you kind of find the millimeter that kind of fits the vibe of every show. So like for us, season one, we were on the Venice 2, and with that chip, I my hero lens was the 45 millimeter. Once we switched to the Burano in season two, um, the chip size on the 16:9 sensor was like, I think just like a millimeter smaller. So just a tiny, tiny bit of crop, just barely. But I felt like the 35 really put me in the scene. So certain millimeters, go for certain scenes or certain situations. But my hero lens is basically that 35 mil because it's just the feeling of being in the room with that person
Mm-hmm.
while still having, um, that depth of field to kind of throw things out of focus and really have you concentrate on the subject. And there's just this natural vignette at wide open that just really hones you into the image. But it keeps the camera package lean and tight. And it really makes you intentional on how you're going to shoot the scene. And sometimes, you might not be on the right lens. Maybe you're on a wide lens and all of a sudden there's something going on that's far away from you and you have to hustle to get there. But that also keeps you in the reality of the moment, right? You can't just zoom into it. It doesn't give you that reality show feel. And sometimes when you're on the wrong lens, it makes the audience really feel like you're in the moment trying to capture something that's real going on, right? It's not set up, it's not fake. We're not redoing things. You really are in the moment, verite style, capturing something that's going on in front of you.
Right. So, how many, I know you said Burano was a cam. Do you have like two, three? What's like the total amount of
Yeah, so I'd say
cameras
like
that you have
our
going?
our average package on season two, the Burano is our main camera. We use the entire Sony DNA line. So I always have my personal FX6 with me as just like a backup camera if I want to set up a wide lock off while I'm shooting a scene if I'm by myself. Um, our director Greg, he owns two FX3s, so sometimes we'll have those around. Um, and one special thing we did for season two, which was my dream for season one, but we couldn't afford it. But I wanted to shoot the girls in the stadium under the lights in their uniforms on anamorphic. So I was able to bring in some Hawk 1.3 V-Light anamorphics for season two.
Wow.
And the
Nice.
idea behind that was like I wanted to shoot our regular style on our Minolta Primes. Like that's our go-to package and the look of the show. But half of the show is basically these girls in training camp trying to get on the team and then, wear that superhero uniform and be on the field and perform Thunderstruck in front of thousands of people. So when that happens, I wanted to have the audience have a subtle feeling or a certain shift that they've kind of accomplished their dreams. And I want them to look like superheroes under those lights in that stadium. So for me, I've always thought the Hawk 1.3 anamorphics are gorgeous. And
Hmm.
if you can shoot those on a 4.3 sensor, you could then de-squeeze that out to a 16:9 image. Like that's what
Right.
those 1.3s were made for. So
Hmm.
it just gives that little bit of touch and a little bit of gloss to the images of them on the field. And I was so happy with the outcome. And the idea was not to create this monumental shift, but just to give this like little sparkle right to the image. And I remember the first day we were shooting with them, I was talking to Cass. I was like, "Man, did we make a mistake? Did we spend a lot of money because these kind of look like our Minoltas?" She's like, "Yeah, I know, that's right." And then we did Thunderstruck, and we did the opening ceremony scene of the game, and the flare, and I opened those wide open, and the flares start hitting the lens, and I go, "Oh no, oh, this is amazing, this is
Yeah.
awesome." Those lenses really are special. I mean, you can really dial in the look just with a touch of the iris going wide open. They can go crazy on the flares and the stadium lights. You close down, a half a stop, and you can really start to control the contrast and the flare and even the softness. So, really powerful tool on top of our Minoltas, and I was very happy with the outcome.
Right. Yeah. That's awesome. And then so you were filming this project you said for a year and it was spread out it was spread out through that entire year or were you
Yeah, I'd
um
say we're really busy in the summer. So in June is when they have their in-person tryouts. They whittle, thousands of applicants down to 70-ish girls who come to Frisco to the Star to try out in person. That is our longest day of the year because you have to get through, 70, 80 girls doing 90-second solos. Then we transition our entire gear down to the Ford Field. They do more like Ford at a time tryouts where they're doing like basically like cheerleader style performances, kicks, splits, that kind of stuff. And then all these judges have to go off into the war room and deliberate who they're going to take to training camp. Season one, we were so unprepared, didn't know what we were in for. I think that was like a 14, 16-hour day, which was pretty nuts just because you had to get through so many girls. And also, the judges and the coaches really were deliberating on who to take to training camp and had to make some hard decisions not to bring some veterans back. Um, and then season two, we were way prepared. Super happy with the outcome of that day. So that's just day one. We're like, so we start with the hardest day, and then we have like about a month and a half of training camp from June to July. Once the team is set, it calms down a little bit, and then it ramps back up to August with preseason games, and we call it Meet the Team, where the girls get to bring their family in, and everyone gets to see them in their uniforms and see them perform Thunderstruck and all this stuff. And then it's off to the races for the football season. And since season one into season two, the girls' popularity has grown so much. I mean, they never have any time to rest, whether they're at a football game or going to some kind of event or Good Morning America in New York, or they constantly get offers to come to multiple events. So we have to kind of like pick where we can spend our money to follow these girls because they're so busy. But this year we did a pretty awesome job. I mean, they got to go to the Mike Tyson fight, which was actually in Dallas. We got to follow them to the Bahamas on their retreat, so that's pretty cool. Like follow them, basically to a vacation, let them relax and let their hair down and hang out with them that way. Casey Musgraves concert, their Christmas shows, like just jam packed. Formula One was awesome. I'm a massive Formula One fan, so I was living my dream,
mhm.
getting to follow the girls and get a VIP treatment. And I think we even got to like go up on the podium post race. Yeah, jam packed year, super super fun, and the girls killed it.
Right. No, that's awesome. And then so once you kind of wrap production, um, are you involved at all in the post as far as like color or anything like that, or are you kind of shifting on to the next project?
No, I'm definitely involved. So I'm always in LA with our colorist Marco Cordero from Cine Haas. He does all of Greg's shows. Brilliant colorist, super good, super fast. We came up with a palette of this show, season one, and basically just kind of not a copy and paste, but we wanted to have certain looks for certain events. Wanted to make sure that our Minolta footage was the color palette was matching our anamorphic footage. So I'll go in person in LA for a couple of days to kind of go over episode one, whatever's locked, which is usually episode one first. And then if I know down the line there are some specialty days or events or scenes that I want to put a special touch on, I'll ask post to send those scenes over. And so we can take a look and kind of like play with them and set a color look for episodes down the line. And then after that, I'm getting HDR links to every episode when they come out. We have spreadsheets and Google Sheets where we can give live notes, and then they adjust those notes and yeah, kind of go from there. So it's episode to episode.
Nice. So if someone is trying to get into like the reality world space and they look at the shows that you've worked on and they're like, wow, like I wanna I want to do that because I enjoy, being able to travel and, like fast-paced shooting and, work on cool shows. What would you tell them as far as like where to start?
It's funny because I just got an email from someone today asking those exact same questions. Um, and I'm always a little, um, yeah, nipped on how to tell them exactly to do that because I feel like coming up, that feeling of being scared to say no to any kind of work, hustle wherever you can. Um, and whatever job you have, always, if you want to be a cinematographer, always be shooting your own stuff whenever you can. If you can have a camera, if you can have stills, find a filmmaking community, another director or actors who just want to hustle and always be shooting something. So, like when I was coming up for about 9 months, my first year in LA, I was working at a small mom and pop G&E house, right? So I was loading 1 tons, 5 tons, 10-ton trucks. But that also gave me the opportunity on the weekends when I had someone who wanted to shoot a short film, like, well, hey, I could just ask my boss, for a crazy discount, can I take the 1 ton out, this weekend with a couple of lights, and they let me do that as long as I came back with everything working. If that truck wasn't going out that weekend, they were cool with that. Or even just taking a couple of lights, they would let me do that for free. So just using any kind of opportunity you can to be shooting and working on your skills and be obsessed with the image making process, you'll find your way. Um, you know, I just, I always tell people, like, get your butt to LA, get your butt to New York, Atlanta, get to those filmmaking communities. And if you're passionate and good at what you do, the hard work will get recognized.
Hmm.
You just keep your head down and yeah, have fun and play. And, you know, people will recognize if you have a good attitude, you're fun to be around, you work hard, all those things combined, it gets noticed in the filmmaking industry.
Right. No, that's awesome. And I know you were talking about lighting, and that's something that we haven't covered. Really
Yeah,
quickly before I let you go.
yeah, of course.
For this show,
Hmm.
are you I know you're bringing lights and everything, but
Yeah,
like, what is your process for like thinking about when to set up and how to set up lights versus being in the
yeah,
moment and kind of letting the environment kind of light itself?
yeah. I would say, for most of our work, it is heavily verite,
Hmm.
but I definitely, will walk in a room. For me, I hate overhead lighting, right? So I immediately turn off the overhead lights in the room, maybe turn all the lamps on, but playing with windows, whether it be full shears, no shears, shaping the light naturally how I can,
Hmm.
because I do like to shoot 360. If we're doing like a night scene, like, the rookies in a hotel room, yes, turning off and on certain lights. There's one time there's a when the girls make the team, there's an announcement, and we go hang out with the girls celebrating in their hotel room that night. They do like a pizza party. I brought in like some S60s and like just put them on party mode. So right, so it's like just throwing up like the rainbow colors constantly, like flickering all over the place. We did a fun little montage of them dancing, celebrating, jumping on the bed, and doing like the jump split on the bed. Just little moments like that where you're like, well, let's have some fun here. Let's play
Right.
with some light, or we'll do some specialty sit-ups, right? So we're like in season 2, I think it's in episode 3. Like we do a breakdown of the kicks and how insanely talented and strong you have to be. So we went, I believe, to Westlake High School, used their indoor practice facility, and I brought, I think a 5-ton truck with a ton of lights, and we had the Ember, was it the Free Fly Ember camera, so the SK, and shooting like 500 frames a second, having 3 cheerleaders like pump out like all these kicks in crazy slow motion, with some beautiful flickering lights, kind of haze the whole place up. But at 500 frames, you need a lot of light. So those are instances where we like choose, all right, this is a specialty breakdown. we're going to like really think this through and light it in a really fun, cool way. But that's some of the cool stuff we did on season two. Um, and visually, it was pretty awesome.
Nice. So one of the last questions I have for you is like inspiration. I mean, because you're constantly going you know, like day in and day out each year, like working on different shows and stuff. Like, how do you like where do you get your inspiration from and how do you stay inspired?
Ooh, yeah. I mean, typical Roger Deakins fan over here for many years. But I'd say I watch way more movies than I do um, like documentary shows. Um, I think I get my inspiration kind of from my directors. I'm always looking for them to kind of like give me ideas or just talking points to where my brain can like go off and think of ideas on how to shoot that. Um, there's times that we come up with themes that we want to portray in a season, or there's a theme per episode. How can we visually portray that? Um, yeah, inspiration. I think it just comes from everything all the time. I don't know. It's a hard question to answer. I haven't thought about that in a while.
Yeah.
We're so into like kind of our style of how we shoot things. I'm kind of just learning from what we've done in the past and how we can kind of make it bigger and better. Um, the meeting we had after season one going into season two, um, when we was officially like having meetings to talk about shooting it, Greg goes, well, season two, we got to make it look bigger and better. And I was like, oh god, what do we do? And so I just like went to my notes section and was like what are all the things that I wanted to do season one we couldn't afford, or yeah, just kind of like always having a back pocket of ideas, collecting things throughout the day. Like I have um a save section like in my Instagram that just is like Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders. Like if I see anything on Instagram where I see someone's lit something cool, or this like funky new lens, or a funny weird contraption, or someone captures a scene in a weird way, like how can I transition that into DCC world? Like sometimes commercials are a really good way where they show this crazy fun angle, or lighting setup. I go, oh, even if I don't know how to use it yet, I'll just save an idea and just go back to it and be like, I can just show my producer directors like I don't know where we could use this, but I just thought it was really cool. And then sometimes that can spark something for them. So yeah, I mean, like that jump sequence that I was talking about earlier that we shot on the Ember, like the last frame of I Tanya, when she's kind of like skating and all these flash bulbs are going off behind her, and it kind of does this freeze frame on like a, a happy pose on her. That was kind of my inspiration for that jump kick sequence. So we're at 500 frames a second. I set up like one, two, three, four, five, like eight aperture units behind, all going as fast as they can on the flash bulb setting.
Mm-hmm.
So where on set, I mean, it looks like it's the lights are going absolutely bonkers. But when you slow it down to 5 frames a second, it's like one bulb, two bulbs, three bulbs. And you're
Right.
kind of doing multiple takes to hopefully just get a beautiful sequence of flash bulbs within your frame. But I mean, yeah, I would say that's actually, I definitely ripped that idea from I, Tanya, for that jump kick sequence.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. I know you mentioned Instagram. Like, can you tell people where is the best place to follow you? Like, can you give your website so people
Oh,
can
sure.
keep up with what you're doing?
Yeah. My Instagram is Jonathan Nicholas. Sorry, Jonathan B. Nicholas. So JonathanB. And then my company, Bandit Films, we're bandit underscore films underscore. That's kind of where I post stuff about the lenses and the cameras we own. So we own a set of Minolta Rollcores by Ancient Optics. We also own a set of Kawa R full frame primes, which is what we shot wrestlers on, and a couple of other cameras. But yeah, man. And I also want to give shout out to my crew because I am worthless without them. Cassidy Kilker is my ride or die first AC since Wrestlers. So we've done 3 seasons of shows together. She is my partner. She is amazing. And also our specialty cam, David Newton, the gimbal extraordinaire. And whenever you see these beautiful slow motion like dolly shots, that's David on his gimbal, which is a whole other thing we should get into sometime because he deserves all the awards in the world. He makes me look so good, and we come up with some really fun shots together.
That's awesome. Cool.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I will in the show notes, I'll put links to maybe their social media too to get them some you know, followers, and people can keep up with what they're doing too. Because I mean, we all know that, like, I mean, the cinematographer, the DP, you know, that, you know, like they are executing, you know, like the director's vision and everything else too. But the crew that like follows the cinematographer, I mean, it's priceless, the value that they add to a set when you have a good crew behind you.
Yeah, and you know, Gretchen Worthen, I've known her for a long time. She's our B cam operator. So during the summer, we have a lot of B cams, so 2 crews going at the same time. So she, you know, she has to do a lot of work by herself. But I've known her for, God, I guess a decade now. Got introduced to her. She is amazing and very sought after camera operator and DP herself, and so thankful to know her and have her on my crew as well. And Clint Lelos, you know, owner of Ancient Optics, he really helps us put a stamp visually on the show, and he also comes out and operates sometimes as well. So I am humble and very spoiled with our team. I think we have the best documentary team in the world. I'll I'll put that against anyone else's team. I really do, and I'm just to work with friends who are also insanely talented. I feel so lucky to be surrounded by such great talent. So they make me look so good, and I just am happy to have them around and point them in the right direction, and they do me proud.
Awesome. Well, Jonathan, thanks so much for taking some time to talk about your journey, to talk about the shows that you've worked on, and yeah, like it's been a pleasure. I really appreciate you.
Yeah, man. Thank you so much for having me. I really do appreciate it.
So again, I want to thank Jonathan for coming on the Capture and Light podcast. Be sure to follow him. Keep up with all that he is doing. Check out his website. Go to Instagram. In the show notes page, capturinglightpodcast.com, or wherever you might be listening to this, the show notes should be listed. There is like 8 or 9 Instagram accounts of people to connect with, to follow, the crew that helped this show come to life. So follow the crew, like follow the people, support them as well, because a lot of what you see is the work of these talented individuals behind the camera. If you have any questions for me, reach out to me, email me. You can Instagram me at Les Gaddis. Email, best place will probably be les@gaddisvisuals.com. Yeah, this was a fun one. I really appreciated like this conversation because there's not too many conversations like this where we just flow and kind of talk about like how the inner workings of a show is done. Especially at this level and this style of show. So, again, I want to thank Jonathan for talking about that. Again, check out America's Sweethearts. And this is the 2nd season, Dallas Cowboy Cheerleaders. That's on Netflix. And it is on, it's releasing on June 18th. So, yeah. I appreciate you for listening. Thank you so much.
Thanks for listening to Capturing Light with Les Gaddis. a Director of Photographers podcast. Inspiring and educating filmmakers like you so you can illuminate your vision. A Gaddis Visuals production.